angels, it's Haley Reese, and today's video has been on my mind ever since the conversation arose of Sarah's Ouija board story. So I figured if it's been on my mind and it's something that has not left my mind, I should definitely sit down and talk about it while the things that I want to talk about are still fresh and I can get my point across, because I always feel like, especially with this channel, when I have like this urge to talk about something, it's normally because somebody needs to hear it. So I thought that for today's video, we could sit down and talk a little bit about the truth behind Ouija boards and the evil truth behind Ouija boards. Before I get into today's video though, I just very quickly want to say, if you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Haley. My family on here is the Reese's Pieces, and we believe in the unbelievable. So if you too believe in the unbelievable, or you just want to hear about it, all you gotta do is go ahead, click that subscribe button, and join our family. I have been warned ever since I was a little girl not to play with Ouija boards. My grandparents in particular were actually super adamant on this not being a game and for me not to touch it. I'm not going to get too deep into my family's history with Ouija boards because I touched on that in my very first ever Ouija board video, which was my Ouija board gone wrong video. I will put an info card to that right here. You can definitely check that out. But my grandpa realized while my grandma was playing with a Ouija board how real it is and how these things are not just, you know, one of you moving your hands or one of you pulling a prank. It's actually contacting a spirit. Now, the very difficult thing about when you are contacting a spirit through a portal is that you can't necessarily choose what comes through. And that's what I'm really going to touch on today. You guys heard Sarah's Ouija board story this past weekend. She sat down and told it to you guys. You guys heard what happened to my friend Mona, and you guys heard when my grandpa was shocked that the ghost that they were speaking to that wanted to keep my grandma there knew exactly how many, I believe it was like nuts or bolts, he had in his pocket when he tested it. So I thought for today we could kind of sit down and just outline why Ouija boards are so dangerous, the truth behind them, and why some paranormal investigators don't see there to be a danger behind them and actually utilize them as a tool to communicate with the other side. Now, I am no expert. I never try to come across as sitting here on my chair and thinking that I'm better than anybody else or thinking that I know more than anybody else. Most certainly not. But I've had enough experiences. I know people who have had enough experiences, and I've done a ton of extensive research into Ouija boards and the terrifying things that can happen following playing with a Ouija board, that I feel like I am in kind of a good position to share this with you guys. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. And okay, where should we begin? So obviously the purpose of a Ouija board is to communicate with ghosts. It's to communicate with the other side. And I do believe that it was designed in good fun. I think it was designed with the intention that when everybody lightly places their hands on the planchette, you know, it just moves naturally through like the nerves in your arms or whatever else. But what started out as a game, I guess so to say, has turned into something that has ruined many people's lives. So we've briefly touched on portals. We've briefly touched on what exactly a portal is, what exactly a vortex is, and how exactly they could be good or they could be dangerous. Now, you can turn any object into a portal. That's the really interesting thing about portals, is that they can be created. You can open up a portal within an object. And so ultimately, by playing with a Ouija board, you are now opening up a portal. What was once, you know, a piece of wood that maybe you painted on or you bought from a store that had designed it, has now become, through intention, your own portal. Now, when you begin to play a Ouija board, you call out to whatever is around. And the very interesting thing is there may be a veil between our world and the spiritual world, but the spirits are always around. I mean, that is just what it is. I've come to learn that so strongly throughout my life. While some places obviously have more spirits around than others, spirits are around. And so within calling out to the spirits to now utilize your hands, your planchette, to move around and to communicate, you have now opened up a portal within this this game. When you are calling out to spirits, you aren't necessarily able, unless you have really worked on this, to single out exactly who you're calling to. So you could be calling to one spirit saying, come show us, but multiple spirits are coming around. And that's just something that people have learned. Now, through intention, you can create that only positive spirits come around. But when you play with a board like a Ouija board and you are actually opening up a portal, it becomes a little bit more difficult to filter through what's coming through. What I mean by this is, if you're in your room and let's say, I want to talk to my grandpa. I can say a quick prayer, I can put a white light around me, and I can say that although I can't guarantee only my grandpa's gonna come, that only anything of light, love, for me, God, but whatever it is for you, are allowed into my white light, are allowed into my room. And that's the beautiful thing about being able to kind of control your own reality through intention. However, when you start to play with a Ouija board, it becomes a little bit more difficult because most people playing with Ouija boards aren't sitting there protecting themselves with white lights, really focusing their intention on anything positive. They're just opening up a portal, calling out to a ghost and hoping for a sign. Now, when this can go from just being dangerous to being like dangerous is when you actually taunt or test the ghost to prove itself to you. So let's say you're all sitting there with a group of friends and you're moving around the planchette and you all are like, oh my goodness, like, is this really a ghost? Is this really a ghost? And you start to say things like, if you're here, give us a physical sign. If you're here, flicker the light or do this. By doing that, you are actually unintentionally testing a ghost. Now, if it is something evil, this can become a very dangerous thing, but whether or not it's evil isn't always necessarily the biggest issue here. When you welcome any spirit into your room to now prove itself to you, chances are you've just invited it now from this portal, from inviting it into your reality to actually inviting it into your space. And a very large majority of people who do things like this find that they now form an attachment to either them or that space. If it's something evil, this is obviously way more terrifying, and I truly believe that that's what happened with Mona. However, because what I think was with Mona was so evil, it didn't even need the invitation into the room. Like, none of them ever said like, prove yourself to us or whatever. It was just, she thought she was talking to her grandma. It turns out what she was talking to was never alive, and then suddenly it was completely within her house, within her room, within everything. And that's also the very dangerous thing about opening up that portal, is depending on what comes to it, it might not even need that invitation. So there's a couple of you, I cannot remember the YouTuber for the life of me, you guys, because I didn't even go check out this YouTuber, but a lot of you, not a lot of you, but a couple of you were leaving me comments saying that this specific like paranormal YouTuber doesn't have the same approach on Ouija boards as me and actually thinks that they're a wonderful tool for communicating. And I'm gonna kind of get into why I think some people feel this way. I know that not every experience had with a Ouija board is negative. I can completely recognize that. I can recognize that there might be somebody who can spiritually control the Ouija board in some way, shape, or form. I personally don't know how you would necessarily do that, but I'm also not an expert. So I understand that there can be positive experiences surrounding a Ouija board. The reason that I warn everybody against ever playing with one is because although there are positive experiences had, I witnessed a negative experience. Sarah literally witnessed her friend become possessed and we'll get into that in a moment, but recognizing that she had a white light around her and saying that they'll get to her. While there are good experiences, would you want to risk it? Like, would you really want to risk having a really scary negative entity attached to you and taunting you and harming you and overall just being around you over trying to have that one positive experience? To me, it just doesn't seem worth it. And especially because I know there are ways to contact deceased loved ones, and I know there are ways to contact the other side that are much safer than playing with a Ouija board and opening up a portal. And that's just through like my own experiences, and that's just through things that I've kind of learned and specific approaches that I've accumulated over the years of trying to understand and comprehend, you know, these things that are attracted to me and the safe way to communicate with them. Now, some people genuinely believe that evil spirits prey on those who are spiritually weak. And sometimes when people are playing with a Ouija board, a lot of the times actually, the people playing with the Ouija board think it's a game, they think it's fun, or they want to test or taunt something, or just like see like what could happen. And they're not taking it seriously at all. And sometimes something negative, such as a demon or something with really bad intentions or just a negative energy, will take advantage of how low your protection state is at and use it as an opportunity to come for you. I have seen documentaries on young kids or young teens who have played with Ouija boards, had something demonic attached to them, and have actually had their whole lives, or have had to live their whole lives with that attachment. And they will warn you that it's not worth it. I think that sometimes people forget that while it's all fun and games to play like spooky games and stuff, the spiritual world does exist, and all it takes, and I'm telling you guys this from the bottom of my heart, is one time, one thing, one Mona for you guys to experience my Mona, or for you guys to be Sarah and to literally see your friend go demonic and tell you like you think your light's so bright as she's trying to protect herself with the white light. All it will take is one time like that, and you will wish that you hadn't played with it. I feel like I am super rambling right now, but I just really wanted to come on here and kind of talk a little bit about it because I just would never want anything bad to happen to any of you. I love you all so sincerely, and I just feel like if I've had a negative experience, Sarah's had a negative experience, my grandma had a relatively negative experience, and these are people that I know, and this is something that I've personally experienced, I can only imagine how many people in the world regret playing with a Ouija board. I mean, I think we've all heard about Zozo the demon. If you guys want me to do a video on that, I'm not opposed to it. I will look into it. Definitely let me know. But he just really freaks me out overall. And I did a little bit of research into him, and he dates way back. Way back. So this isn't like a new like internet thing. This actually is something that you can follow a trail back into history, and that's what makes it all the more freaky and all the more real. And he tends to utilize the Ouija board as his portal into getting to people. So I mean, there are some serious risks surrounding the Ouija board. That's the truth of it. While I understand that there are people who feel they can control the Ouija board, who feel they can control the experience they have, and who maybe have had nothing but positive experiences, I am not trying to disrespect any of them whatsoever, because I can only speak on behalf of my experiences and my experiences of, or the experiences of those around me. And through some of the research that I've done, I can't speak on behalf of everybody. So you guys are definitely free to believe whoever you want on that side of things. Everybody's on their own spiritual journey. I'm never here to bash anybody else's. Maybe there are people who think some of the things that I do are wrong or stupid, and so I never want to approach that. I just kind of wanted to address the truth about the negative side of Ouija boards and how very, very scary they could be. At this point, I'm just rambling, you guys, so that is going to be it for today's video. Like I said, if you want to hear more about Zozo the demon, I will definitely do some research into that and put one of those videos into, or put that video into my 31 days of Halloween. But on that note, you guys, if you enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I am posting every single day for the month of October, so I don't want you to miss when I upload. And please give this video a big thumbs up. It makes my heart super happy when you do that. So please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, I love you.